up close and personal. We have a young man by the name of Youad Brown. Is now blowing up all over the world. He is known as the Mad Cobra. Cobra, welcome to Rough Cut.
Respect, since I hears, as Yanni would say, I hears what I do.
For real.
Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. If you were to ask 10 reggae fans the decade they believe was the absolute peak of dancehall, I can bet that 9 of them will tell you that the 1990s was the greatest era of that amazing subgenre of reggae. It was an epoch that saw the rise and crowning of legends like Shabba Ranks, Supercat, Buju Banton, and the subject of today's video in the phenomenal Mad Cobra, a super talented and versatile DJ that could fill dance floors or charm the ladies with love songs in one breath and in another scorch the deadliest toasters in fiery sound clashes without breaking a sweat. If scientists could clone a combination of Shabba Ranks and Ninja Man, the result would be Mad Cobra. He would put out some of the biggest songs of the 1990s, some of which were so influential that dance moves were named after them, at least in places where I grew up. The dance move that you are looking at right now is called the Bogo, but was known in my neighborhood as the Flex for a very long time, as it was linked strongly to one of Mad Cobra's biggest hits. If we're doing a roll call of dancehall artists who really took dancehall into the global mainstream, he would definitely make that list. At his peak, he was simply an international sensation and even featured on songs with A-list artists like Tony Braxton. But as the 1990s crossed over into the new millennium, his influence and hit songs seemed to slip under the radar, prompting us to ask the question, what happened to Mad Cobra? Let's take a look at the journey and life of this incredible 1990s dancehall superstar. He was born Youad Brown in the Barbican neighborhood of Kingston on March 31st, 1968. His family moved to a rural town called Islington in the St. Mary Parish and lived there for a while before returning to Kingston when he was a teenager. He fell in love with music in those times and would often sneak out of the house to watch elite dancehall DJs do their thing on the microphone. It would be at one of such dances that he would see future legends like Charlie Chaplin and Papa San, and it was those two artists in particular who would inspire him to become a DJ at the age of 18. And he chose his stage name from that of a villain in a popular 1980s cartoon called G.I. Joe, and began to hustle to flow on the microphone at local sound system events. After leaving high school, he got his first break as a recording artist when his uncle, Delroy Thompson, who was a veteran sound engineer at Tough Gong Studios, produced his first single titled Respect Woman in 1989. A very good start that was soon followed by a duet with singer Trisha McKay that was titled Nago Work, which incidentally became his first hit. On that track, he showed heavy influence from Papa San and Ninja Man. His performance on that song caught the attention of producers like Captain Sinbad, under whom he would put out a slew of singles that featured the then new trend of gunman lyrics. The impact of his tracks like Shoot to Kill and Merciless Bad Boy opened the door for a chance to work with the great Penthouse Records, then Jamaica's hottest studio that was owned by ace producer Donovan Jermaine in 1990. And that collaboration would prove to be a very fruitful one that produced smash hits like Yush and Gondolero, as well as the monster hit Feeling Lonely, on which he was featured by Lovers Rock legend Beres Hammond, who was also a Penthouse artist. And it was under Penthouse that he unleashed his debut album Bad Boy Talk, which made a huge impact in the market and made Mad Cobra an official star. He would also record for Jamaica's hottest producers like Bobby Digital and King Jammy, and would start to amass a huge fan base overseas, especially in the UK, where his songs would go to number 1 in the reggae charts 5 times in one single year. So by 1991, US label Columbia Records had discovered the immense potential of dancehall and would sign artists like Supercat and Shabba Ranks. Mad Cobra quickly caught their attention and he was next to be signed. But there was one slight problem. Even though he was an amazing talent, his style was gangster and was overflowing with gunman lyrics. And most especially, he flowed a lot like Ninja Man. Columbia Records didn't trust the marketability of gangster lyrics, and in those times, Ninja Man was involved in a beef with Shabba Ranks, who was then their artist. They signed him anyway, but first put him on a sort of 6-month apprenticeship under Shabba Ranks so he could pick up Shabba's Loverman style, which at the time was very radio friendly. And when the label thought he was ready, they put him in the studio to start recording his first album for Columbia. He would name it Hard to Wet, Easy to Dry, after one of the songs that he liked the most. After recording 11 songs, he still needed one more track to complete the album, and he got the idea for a song named Flex after seeing a video of a lovely lady working out in a gym. And after writing it, he would voice it in the studio and then played it back to listen to. It was supposed to be an up-tempo song, but the studio tape player would develop a fault and began to play very slowly. Immediately, all eyes in the studio popped wide open as they all knew that they were listening to something special. Columbia Records, a few days later, flew Sly Dunbar into town to put the instrumentals together, and the track Flex was completed and included on the album. So Mad Cobra was scheduled to fly to Japan for a month-long tour and left immediately just before the album was released. And when he came back a month after, he was simply stunned to hear Flex being played everywhere in Jamaica. Putting it mildly, Flex was a mega smash hit on a global scale. It not only topped Jamaica's charts, but also went to number 13 on the US singles charts and number 1 on the US rap charts. It charted in many countries and was on the playlists in clubs and parties around the world on rotation for at least 1 year. The album's second single, Legacy, that features singer Richie Stephens, was also a big hit that was loved especially by the ladies. And Mad Cobra was by then what you could call a global superstar. That should have been the start of a winning streak with his label, but unfortunately, after his amazing debut, Mad Cobra began to have problems with Columbia Records. The label was then really strict about keeping his music radio friendly and began to clamp down heavily on his artistic freedom. This led to a battle for creative control and eventually a falling out and parting of ways between him and the label. But he was still a red hot artist and moved over immediately to Rush Records, where he released the album Goldmine in 1993. He would put out music and albums consistently over time, even though they wouldn't come near the commercial success of his album with Columbia. But he still remained a phenomenon on the sound system and live show circuits back in Jamaica, and most especially, he became very deadly on the clash scene and would literally steamroll over his rivals in many epic face-offs. In 1995, he went head-to-head with his former mentor in Ninja Man in that year's edition of the Sting Festival. In that clash, Mad Cobra would stun the audience and the world when he beat Ninja Man in a tight contest. And Ninja Man's pride was hurt, as he had been until then dancehall's most dangerous toaster, who had in the years past put the likes of Shabaranks and Supercat to his lyrical sword. And he challenged Mad Cobra to a rematch at the Fresh 96 concert a few months later. And in that contest, Ninja Man lost again, cementing Mad Cobra's reputation as one of the most dangerous lyricists in dancehall history. He put out music consistently until the end of the 90s and remained a phenomenon on the live music circuit. But the 2000s will see its influence decline a little bit with the rise of a new crop and generation of dancehall superstars. But he still remained a much in-demand name on the global concert scene, playing numerous shows at numerous reggae festivals all over the world, and he would continue to enjoy success as years went by. However, he almost lost his life in 2010 when he was shot in the streets by a group of men in Kingston, but he would soon recover and continue on his grind. However, in 2023, the news came out that Mad Cobra had been arrested in Florida for being in possession of narcotics and firearm. That trial is still ongoing, but he's out on bail and is still really busy recording and performing, and performed as a guest artist at the premiere of dancehall artist/actor Spagabenzi's latest film Unbelievable in October 2024. The great Mad Cobra may not have achieved the same level of success as his peers like Shabaranks or Buju Banton, but he is without a doubt a legend in the history of dancehall, whose place in the pantheon of the all-time greats is definitely secure. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.